get out of it, you know, the easier it will be for you to store later.
Okay, so keep playing.
As long as you want. You don't have to. You can put it right in your little jar now. You just scoop it up and just drip it in. And that's fine too. How I got to mica paint is I started playing with gold leaf. So gold leaf, how the heck do you do that in watercolor? So this was my first attempt to try to incorporate shiny into watercolor. So gold leaf, it's not, you don't use real gold leaf for watercolor. You actually use copper. And the reason for that, as I found out, is gold leaf, though not only is it ridiculously expensive, watercolor will adhere to gold leaf, which is what you absolutely don't want because then you're painting over it. So what's the point? But the copper repels the water. So you can see what I kind of did here is I would apply it and then I put watercolor ground on top of it to make it stick. Brand, no reason. I've tried a few. Glycerin is a good one. They're nice and powdery. Unicon is another high quality artist one. There's varying ones out there. If they say pearl, it usually means it's a lot finer because you don't want all the glitteriness. You want it nice and chopped up. You can see how fine that is, right? And so we're very careful with this.
Where do you get your supplies?
I've ordered from Blick, I've ordered from Google, I've tried a bunch of different places. I'm still just testing various colors. What do I like playing with? How do the powders mix with the binder? That kind of thing. But I've used this one for a couple of different colors. Like for the white, I liked this one a lot. I found the Unicon one has a lot of different variations of pigment that this company doesn't have. So I was just shopping around and playing, seeing what I could find. The binder, I do equal amounts of my binder to equal amounts pigment. If anything, I overdo it just a little bit because I don't want so little binder that you're painting with it and then it dries and you take a paper towel to it and you wipe it right off. That's when you know you don't have enough binder. To 2 parts to 1 part. That's the secret.
Okay.
That's the ancient secret.
All right.
So I would do this, put your 2 parts. This is the gum arabic powder. There you go.
So 1 part?
2 of those, 2 parts of that. And then you want 4 parts of this. Like when I make this, I do it like in a big, huge mixing thing and a whisk and because I make a whole jar of it and then I keep it refrigerated. So you got 4 of those. And then you want, is this one open? You want 1 of these. And this is the Glycerin. So this is the emulsifier that makes it stay on the paper.
Okay.
This is what, like when you re-wet it, kind of makes it a little.
1 of these?
Just 1 of those guys.
Makes it a little what?
What's the word I want? It's like an emulsifier. Some people use honey.
Oh. So it's the sticky part?
That's the sticky part. That's a good way to do it. The sticky part.
Emulsifier. I'm not a scientist.
Emulsifier. So you want to try to get out all the clumps, which is why when I do it, I heat it really hot and then I use a whisk. But that will eventually just dissolve on you. And we're not going to be too fancy with it because we'll mull it and get some bits out of it.
Do you think the water heated up, like cooled down too much?
Probably. But that's okay.
Can we microwave it?
Sure can.
I'm gonna microwave the cup.
If you want.
Well, it's not whisking. All right, so I'm gonna throw it in there.
Okay.
Microwave. We're gonna pause this.
Oh, normally I would take this and I'd refrigerator it.
Yep.
Because I chill it so that it gets a little bit thicker, so it's a little less runny to work with.
Oh, okay.
But we're just gonna go for it. Got a mask handy?
Yeah.
Because this powder that we're gonna use is so fine, and it's a carcinogen, so we don't want to be accidentally breathing that sucker in. So, and then the next is we're gonna do 1 part of our mix to 1 part of this powder. And what I usually do a paper towel. I put the powder down first and then make like a little well.
Yeah.
Boy. And see, it's just so,
Yeah.
you have to be super careful with it. I kind of wish that this came in jars, this particular brand.
Couldn't you just put it in there?
I could, but I'm nervous about trying to transfer it. Try to get a pretty even, like scrape it somehow so you get a nice flat. Yeah, like that. Perfect. All right, put that right in the center. And make yourself like a little volcano well in it. Get a little hole in there.
Like with this?
Yeah. I'm gonna show you.
You show me.
Girl, I'm gonna show you.
Oh.
Just like that, that's all.
Okay.
And then you want, I would not normally do that. This thing anyway.
Sorry. This got most of the good shots.
That's amazing. I remember when Mary's significant other, Neil, he's got these really expensive, like fancy cameras and stuff. And now they're like, yeah, my phone's better than that.
Yeah, because you can do it in portrait mode and it just saves so much time.
Perfect. Yeah, that consistency is pretty good. And you can kind of tell when it's too soupy, like if you accidentally get too much binder on there and then I add a little more. But if there's too much of the powder, it starts to kind of look sort of like cottage cheese.
Yeah.
It gets really clumpy and then you can't work with it. And I'd rather have a little extra binder than not enough.
Yes, I totally agree. I think that's what makes your brand really nice, because I was just shocked. I tried to finish the ceramic piece, the clay pieces I did.
Yeah.
And it just ruined the finish of it. And the other ones had their own finish.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the mica powder is so fine, you probably don't need to mull it like you would a pigment, because normally you mull the pigment to get rid of the extra granules and kind of smash it down. But I mull it because I'm trying to take some of the moisture out of it.
Is this mulling it?
Nope, so this is the muller right here. So try to get it off of your knife at this point. Try to wipe your knife off as best you can by smooshing it on both sides, yep. And then you can just kind of set it right here on the glass. So, I mean, the pigment is so fine at this point. There's not much mulling, but I want to get as much moisture out as I can because it helps them dry in these little trays faster.
Yeah.
The more watery I did them, I got a lot of liquid on the top that sort of hung out and it started to separate.
Oh.
So I'm trying to get as much of the liquid out
That makes so much sense.
when I'm doing that. So do you want to check that out? Give her a try.
It's so gooey.
You can probably take your mask off if you want.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I know, seriously. I'm so nervous about this powder.
Yeah, I
Getting
actually
everywhere.
used some of that when it first started coming out, and I spent a whole day like adding it to paintings. I was so excited. I was sick for 3 days.
Yeah, and I don't think you like appreciate how much of like when I open that up, you can just kind of see it sort of dissipate in the air.
I got so into it, and then it was afternoon light, and I saw through the window the light shining in.
And you could see
You
it?
could see it. The whole room was filled with the pigment
Yeah.
after a whole day. I was like, okay, that was dumb.
Yeah.
But live and learn.
So I've been doing it in my kitchen right now, and I am anxious about continuing to do that because I can see it for like, 15 minutes after I do it. Yeah, it's gonna stick.
Like, how do you pick that up?
We don't have much there. You have to kind of like pop it off of there. So what I'll do is like, this is what takes me the most time, is then I'll work it back in the center, pull it back in. And this process, usually I have probably 5 or 6 times what we've got here. I'll work it all for like an hour and then go away and wash dishes and then come back and then make sure. It's pretty good actually, because we didn't put that much in there. So, but yeah, and then this is the abridged version. Let me get all this off of here.
So cool.
It's the most relaxing thing in the world. And then you can start scooping it off of here and putting it into little trays.
Oh, what's she have?
Do you have some little trays? You have trays. Scrape it off, because then I start popping all the air bubbles so that the half pans look nice and pretty. But I mean, that's a good, at least half pan. Oops, I want to get paint on your table. And that's it. You'll have to tell me how this works out, because we fudged our process, but with rushing the binder a little bit, who knows how that'll work. And there's some gold pigment. Done and done.